environments where they had no power. They had very little say about when they eat, when they sleep, who they socialize with, what they had for breakfast, what time they had breakfast, what time they took a shower. So sometimes behaviors are learned over time to deal with how their life has been up to the point that you have met them. And sometimes that's a very positive thing, and for some folks that's not been so positive. I come from a background long enough that when some of the state facilities began closing, a number of the persons I worked with had been institutionalized for most of their life. So when we tried putting them, or tried integrating them into a community setting, some of their behaviors were not ones that others wanted to be around so much. And in part because they learned behaviors in a setting totally unlike what we were putting them in now. Challenging behaviors occur for many reasons. There's always something that sets that behavior off. It may be something you can see. It may not have anything to do with anything you have any idea. Worked with a young man a few years ago that the moment I turned on the lights, and believe me, I looked for every possible piece of research that said why on earth is turning the lights on causing him to just have an unpleasant next hour between hitting and all sorts of things. And this was a little person, by the way. This wasn't a big person. But it was truly the antecedent for him was I turned on the lights. We can all identify you turn on the lights. We got behavior we didn't want. Did we figure out why? No, we didn't. But that didn't mean it wasn't what was the antecedent that would cause that behavior. There are also reinforcers what continues that behavior. Some factors that could influence behavior, biological context. A number of persons with developmental disabilities on medications that you won't see what that causes. Some behavior medications or medications for seizure activity or different other different impairing conditions cause things like ear ringing. Now, I don't know if you've ever had ear ringing, but you cannot cover your head and make it stop. And if you have ear ringing going on for a couple hours, it tends to make you a tad bit cranky. So if that's been occurring since you woke up, and then someone kind of says something unkind to you, there's a number of things that set up a behavior that perhaps you didn't see coming, but you didn't see the underlying piece of that as well. It can be social attention, escape. My son, who's now 12, is famous for his escape behaviors. The teacher came to me and said, gosh, you know, he just doesn't participate in math class. Well, where is he? Well, he's in the bathroom. Every day during math, my son left the room and went to the bathroom. I was like, son, what are you doing? He's like, I don't want to do math. And there's a number of reasons why he doesn't want to do math. When I said to the teacher, he's doing it to avoid math class, she said, oh, I just thought that was his time of day to kind of need to do his thing. He's like, no, I can promise you, he's going in there and he's hiding. It was an escape behavior that she thought was attributed to something different. We sort of got that fixed. Tangibles. Tangible is just something I want in return. Some piece. Could be food, it's something that I can hold. Sensory feedback. Sensory feedback are things like if I bang my head, I get some kind of sensory feedback from that. If some persons with visual impairment sometimes will poke their eyes because there's a sensory feedback in that. Not necessarily behavior that gets you people wanting to be around you very much. Okay. Behavior occurs in settings. It's important to know what happens before, during, and after. I love this one. I haven't seen this before with the lights. Dad is sitting there watching TV. He's not paying any attention to the little guy. He starts going, making a funky noise. Dad looks at him. Say, Toby, Daddy finds that sound really annoying. What are you supposed to happen? Toby's now snorting all the time because he wants Dad's attention. There are times when a behavior starts, it doesn't just stop or get the event or whatever occurs. Sometimes it escalates and gets bigger. Okay? You think of a 2-year-old on the floor. I have a 2-year-old, but you know those TV shows that show a child having a tantrum that he thinks kind of a joke. My daughter was one of those. It wasn't a joke. She would hit that floor and start in a moment. The key to intervene in an escalation is intervene early. And there are environmental things. If somebody's doing it, if somebody's having a behavior that's very unpleasant, causing a lot of emotional discomfort, there's some things that you can do to reduce some of that behavior and decrease the likelihood of it occurring again. But the key in that is the behavior needs to be replaced. You can't just say to someone, stop that behavior. You need to stop doing that because it's serving a function. It has to be replaced with some, hopefully a more appropriate behavior. One of the things to do is make it irrelevant. Change the context so the problem doesn't occur. You know, if you find yourself going to Walmart and if you need to relax, you yourself seek out environments that meet your needs. When you need downtime, you go to Walmart. You know. Make the problem behavior inefficient. This is where you can exaggerate a reward for the appropriate behavior. For example, I hate going back to my son, but we do it a lot. My son has ADHD, which isn't a developmental disability, but it certainly impacts his ability to function in the classroom. So right now we have one of the exaggerated functions we have of a reward is if he has no late assignments for the entire week, he gets to spend an afternoon at the game loft. Now that does seem kind of large, but I can promise you, he can have 45 late assignments in 8 weeks. Okay, that's a lot. Right now we're down to about 4 a week, which is really, really good. We'll keep exaggerating that until we get the behavior that I want. So it does work out in the end. We're going to keep doing that? Not necessarily, because one, I can't afford it. But we will continue to exaggerate the reward to get closer and closer to the behavior that needs to be. Part of this is for you to set the behavior that you expect. If you're mirroring back grumpy, unhappy, that could say to me, my experience with somebody grumpy and happy means I'm going to have a very, very unpleasant night. Okay? So if you mirror back and maintain expectations for the appropriate behavior, you're more likely to get the behavior that you want. Cause for desired behavior. The one thing I would say in this is be very careful. More words are not necessarily better. Okay? Continuing to say to somebody, I need you to do this, I need you to do this, I need you to do this, just might get a behavior you really didn't want. Because while someone's still processing that first request, it starts to just get louder and louder inside your head and can really cause an escalation of behavior that you wouldn't necessarily want. It may be as simple as removing attention. It may be an attention-seeking behavior. Waiting for the desired behavior, prompt the behavior that you want, and then reinforce it. Okay, and that can be something. Praise. That's a reinforcement for many people. Attention is reinforcement. Keep in mind that if you throw a tantrum, someone's likely to repeat that tantrum, and that could be something as simply as driving and having a road rage moment. Some things that you think may not stick will stick and be repeated, perhaps at a different